Sir John A. Macdonald was decapitated in Montreal by a group of protesters concerned about racism. There's clearly a dispute in our society, so we brought in Shannon Moldaver because she's an expert at dispute resolution. We're broadcasting from Secret on top of the George restaurant in Toronto. Shannon, most people decried that action. It did bring attention to their concerns. Most people also say, well, it brings them into disrepute though. But let's deal with racism and the dispute in society. There's racism everywhere, although most people argue that Canada is not as racist as other countries. How do we deal with that dispute?
I think racism is absolutely an international issue. It needs to be on the fore of our national interests.
Yes.
It is absolutely an issue. And in terms of the protests that happened on the weekend in Montreal, that's a small group of individuals who were, engaged in lawlessness and violence, and that was
200 people, though. So 200 people, do they bring the issue into disrepute?
Well, 200 people didn't topple the statue. So I think
but they were in the crowd.
They were in the crowd, but they were not the ones that were committing the act. I don't think it would be fair to paint all protesters with the same brush. They all come with very important narratives. It's a really emotional issue, and I think we draw back and we say this has to be a nonpartisan issue that's addressed by the government in a cohesive, very openly communicative way so that protesters are able to know that the government is on this in the same way that the pandemic is being addressed by all levels of government.
So what should the government do to address it?
So
what, in your view?
Okay, so the first thing is if we draw back and say people like Elie Wiesel, Nobel Peace Prize laureate, received, when he made his acceptance speech, he basically said, wherever there's racial injustice, whether it be for culture, religion, color of skin, you cannot have neutrality in that space. That space where there's racial injustice has to be the center of the universe. And if we're having an issue with that right now, all hands on deck. That means the same way Trudeau, Ford, and all the premiers got on board, and O'Toole and Trudeau are talking about sharing of information about the pandemic, this needs to be a nonpartisan issue that is addressed and made visible to all Canadians.
So is it just talk, though, that we need?
No. So there's lots of organizations that are trying to do good work and trying to investigate and make and root out systemic racism. But the government also, of interest, maybe most people don't know, have a slated plan on anti-racism from 2019 all the way pension 2019 to last to 2022. But you know what? Most people don't know about that. We need like the same sort of communication as Dr. Tam telling us to wash our hands. We need to be told about racism as Canadians and how to address it.
And you've just done that. Shannon Moldaver, 3 minutes. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. We are going to continue to broadcast from the Secret Bar here on top of the George Restaurant Courtyards on Queen Street East in Toronto. In these days, where politicians are spending a lot of your money, Parliament's not sitting, it's important to have an independent news source. That's what we are doing. We hope you subscribe.